34 no na yeto nika fo no ha yeto ne 34 ne 700,000 aye titisika no 70 Ghana and so abai de device no na bag mu ani na odemaye 800,000 titisika no eche se wo mu 34 mien sakura ne o bag nim eche se wo don bebra wo nya sika mfa nto ne anti ata abai da wo mo bra ya mu nse sisi a obi sisi a binum kra san do a omu gusu dia anso no siro se bia no wada no wanya fet anase wanya mu anu sisi a ye gusu a ye dua bi kra ye nuan ye.
They had their own seeds they were planting, the seeds they are used to. So when the hybrid one was brought in, a few people tested it, and the outcome was so clear. And so the following year, a lot more people came in and then bought the fertilizer. Even in my area, those who didn't have money to buy the fertilizer, we devised a means of loaning them to them.
Another pillar to the sector is the government's agricultural mechanization services. At Akira Farms in the Seche-Dumasi area, Dr. Usefri Akoto revealed that a $150 million Brazilian facility is going for power planters, tractors, maize shelling machines, and tractors are fixed with weedicide sprayers, top and down. Akira Farms have mangoes, potatoes, coconuts, maize, tiger nuts, and cashew. Greenhouse Technology Initiative engulfs vegetable growers. According to Agric Ministry officials, wherever one's venture might be, it will soon touch base. Vegetable cultivation is one area Ghana uncomfortably faces a regional competition. Tomato from Burkina Faso and onions from both Burkina Faso, all situated on the dry Sahara belt, will test the pulse of Ghana, which
authorities. And joining us live is our Northern Regional Correspondent, Murtala Issa, who is with the traveling team. Good afternoon, Murtala.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Welcome to News Hour.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very well. The president is in your backyard. It's day one of his visit. Tell us what's happening up north.
So presently, we are at Yapi in the central Gonja district of the Savannah region, where the president is scheduled to inaugurate a community water system. The project is to benefit over 18,000 people, about 18,149 persons spread across 5 communities in this area will be benefiting. A while ago, I was speaking with some residents here, and they told me their only source of water is a white water, which is not wholesome. But that is what they've been drinking and been using it for other domestic activities. But with this inauguration, they are happy that they are now going to have potable water. They are only appealing that the positioning of the pipe, the standpipes, they should increase the number of standpipes within the community and bring them closer to their homes.
Very well. So, what will be the source of the water to be provided to the people?
Come again, Gamali.
What would be the source of the water?
So they will be tapping the water from the White Volta, which is very good because it appears to be for now an endless source of water. So in the northern region, we usually find certain times of the year, especially during the dry season, rivers and streams drying up, and they are not able to tap the water. For example, what we have in Yendi. But with the White Volta, it appears to be an endless source. The river never dries up. And so there is that assurance of constant water supply throughout the year. I must also add that they have incorporated solar energy, and so there will be no challenge when it comes to lights going off. This system is not going to be a major challenge for the community residents.
That would indeed be a respite for our brothers and sisters up north. Now, you are up north. What other situations have to be corrected? That begs for attention.
So, apart from this development, we are also told by the assemblyman here that Yape is one of the areas with quite considerable challenges in terms of sanitation, and people do open defecation, and they are hoping that with this system, it will reduce the open defecation that people practice. People are being encouraged to also build their household toilets. The excuses they used to give in the past was that they have no water to flush, but this time around there is abundant water and they will be able to flush, and so it will reduce open defecation. Now, apart from the water situation, we have roads across the region. This is a predominantly farming community. That is the major industry we have in the northern, the savannah, as well as the northeast regions. The feeder roads that we have here are not in very good shape, and wherever you pass, residents keep on reminding you, especially farmers keep on reminding you, that if you have the opportunity, let the public know, let the president know that we need good roads so that we can connect our farms to our villages, to our market centers. So apart from water, people need good roads, and then of course they need storage facilities to be able to store their fresh agricultural produce so that they don't go bad.
Very well. So the president is there, so they can talk to him about it. Thank you so much for joining us. That's our Northern Regional Correspondent, Murtala Issa, who is with the traveling team. The president says Ghana is steadily on the path towards slowing down and containing the coronavirus. On Sunday, when he addressed the nation on measures taken against the spread of COVID-19 here in the country, President Akufo-Addo said the recovery rate has improved from 75% to 89.5%. And this is the president's first national address after returning to work from 14 days in self-isolation.
On our shoulders. At first glance, it is alarming to see the 32,969 people have so far contracted the virus. But a closer look at the data will tell you that we are steadily on the path towards limiting and containing the virus and ultimately defeating it. The figure to look out for is the number of active cases. When I delivered update number 13, the number of active cases in the country, i.e. those who as of 27 June 2020 had the virus, stood at 4,245. As at midnight of 24th July, nearly a month later, the number of active cases in Ghana stands at 3,307. Again, a month ago, the number of recoveries stood at 12,994. Today is 28,927. This means our recovery rate has improved from 75% of positives a month ago to 89.5%, all in 1 month currently. Our hospitalization and death rates have consistently been very low, some of the lowest in Africa and in the world. The Ghanaian people massively are not dying of the virus in the hundreds and thousands that were earlier anticipated and predicted. The rate of virus-related deaths has remained persistently low at 0.5% of confirmed cases. And I dare say, it is the grace of God and the measures taken by your government with your support that have produced this result. It is also importantly due to the immense dedication and hard work being exhibited by our healthcare workers who continue to care for those affected by the virus and for the sick in general, and to whom we continue to remain indebted.
And effective 1st August 2020, restrictions on the number of worshippers at a time will be lifted, announcing phase 2 of the easing of restrictions as a result of COVID-19. President Akufo-Addo said the initial allocated duration for worship at churches and mosques will be extended from 1 to 2 hours. The caveat, however, is for all worshippers to strictly comply with hygiene protocols for the safety of all.
I miss going to church, as I'm sure many others have. I'm therefore very happy to announce that in consultation with our church leaders, from 1st August 2020, the restrictions on the number of congregants worshipping at a time in church will be lifted, with the length of worship extended from 1 to 2 hours per service. Church leaders who are desirous of implementing this enhanced easing directive must ensure the congregants wear face masks at all times, and the 1 meter social distancing rule is scrupulously applied. These same guidelines apply to worship in our mosques. With greater number of congregants likely to return for worship, I would respectfully ask the religious leaders to pay even greater attention to the fresh air ventilation of their premises, rather than relying on the use of air conditioning. I assure you that under my watch as President of the Republic, government will continue to work to create a diversified, transformed economy, fashion a conducive business climate that will deliver development, progress, and prosperity for all Ghanaians. This is my solemn pledge to you.
And again, while announcing the reopening of tourist attractions and sites, President Akufo-Addo said commercial vehicles could also operate at full capacity. These are part of measures to restore socio-economic life while fighting COVID-19. However, beaches, pubs, cinemas and nightclubs, as well as the country's borders, are to remain closed until further notice.
With the Ghana Tourism Authority and the health experts, I'm announcing the reopening of our nation's tourist sites and attractions so they can begin to receive visitors. Open-air drinking spots can now function. The management of these facilities are tasked to enforce enhanced hygiene and social distancing protocols. Beaches, pubs, cinemas, and nightclubs, however, remain closed until further notice. In consultation with the Ministers of Transport and Aviation and the leadership of transport operators, government has taken the decision to lift the restrictions in the transport sector and allow for full capacity in our domestic airplanes, taxis, trotros, and buses. The wearing of masks in vehicles and aircrafts and the maintenance of enhanced hygiene protocols remain mandatory. Private burials, still with a maximum of 100 persons, can continue to be performed. Our borders, by air, land, and sea, remain closed until further notice for human traffic.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News and GTV. Akumadan in Ashanti, Bojas in the Central Region, and Dawenya in the Greater Accra region are being developed into greenhouse villages to cultivate vegetables. 3 months of in-house training provided at the 3 centers awards beneficiaries a graduate diploma. Napoleon Atokito has details of this report.
This is the greenhouse village at Dawenya irrigation site in the Greater Accra region. This is the greenhouse village at Bojiase in Central Region. And this is the greenhouse village at Akumadan in Ashanti Region. The heavily padded academic programs run by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture at the 3 greenhouse technology centers compresses the 2-year academic calendar run by conventional tertiary education into 3 months. The greenhouse technology is one of 5 initiatives by government in a bid to revamp and revolutionize the agric sector. Vegetable farming is a complex but profitable venture which the authorities are re-engineering to position it as a major foreign exchange earner and to feed import substitution industries. The running footage demonstrates how Ghana is harnessing resources to boost vegetable cultivation towards fulfillment of objectives. Government has been supplying reefer vans to production partnership entrepreneurs, being vegetable farmers who constitute themselves into groups for the uptake and shared use of any assistance. Under the greenhouse technology, Ghanaian vegetable farmers are sent to Israel on the seal of government for a 10-month practical training. The intensive production of vegetables in Ghana has become extremely successful due to advanced methods of technology. The outcome of the crash programs is to transfer knowledge in smart solutions for more efficient farming in Ghana. This is why Ghana has created greenhouse villages, which apply some of the best practices in 3 of the 16 regions with a view to boosting vegetable crop production.
We consider them to be very, very critical in what we are trying to do in the vegetable transformation, because they are private sector. These are people who have, it's been their business all their lives to produce vegetables. But if you look at the history of the assistance of government, it's been virtually nothing. And here is an untapped potential that we feel that with little push, they'll be able to deliver. And hence, these initiatives that you are taking for the peri-urban sector.
The bank in Ghana has been supporting the government effort through 2 of our agriculture projects, the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, but also the peri-urban vegetable project. So, in my view, I think the government is making the right efforts to transform the sector.
2 years ago, Ghana exported to neighboring countries out of a bumper harvest. Agric officials say it was as a result of strategic measures to stimulate productivity. Vegetables are part of some 18 agricultural produce now being exported by Ghana. The new tide puts local farmers in jobs, maintains livelihoods, and expands Ghana's share of the export market. Napoleon Atokito reporting.
The flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress NDC, John Dramani Mahama, will formally outdoor his running mate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, in a live broadcast at 6:45 p.m. tonight. The event with the hashtag JM and Jane 2020 will also be live streamed. Joining us live via phone is the spokesperson for the John Mahama 2020 campaign, Mr. James Ejanin Boateng. Good afternoon, James.
Emmanuel, good afternoon.
It's a pleasure joining us live on News Hour.
I'm honored to be on your station.
Okay. Now, James, what does Madam Jane Opoku-Agyeman bring to the JM ticket?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be on your station. Well, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman is coming to lift up the standard, but it appears that in the last 3.5 years plus, I'm not sure that the bar really has been up the way it ought to be. Indeed, I've had many journalists asking me if what he's going to do is to throw jabs, because it appears it appears that that was what has come to be synonymous with high office that we all know. She's bringing dignity, respect, she's bringing empathy, she's bringing clear thought, she's bringing understanding of the issues, and she is bringing a focus to address issues that affect women, children, education, and other such issues. I mean, so that's what she brings. She's bringing respect, dignity, and she's here to lift the bar up high.
Very well. So, briefly run us through this evening's event.
This evening's event, traditional as it is, traditional in the sense that we'll have people seated in an auditorium, but it will also have great respect for the COVID-19 protocols in terms of seating, physical and social distancing will be respected, and the protocols will be observed before the little under 100 invitees enter the auditorium. So it's an event with people seated in an auditorium, but mainly it is targeting the larger public out there who would have to follow it live on a number of radio and television stations across the country, as well as on a plethora of social media platforms.
James, how long do you envisage the program will last?
We are looking at anywhere up to an hour 20, an hour 30 minutes. About 80 to 90 minutes, the program should be over and done with. It's not a long program. There'll be few preliminary remarks, and then the flag bearer would also make a statement, after which the professor, for whom we are there for the evening, will make a maiden major statement.
I think we'll leave it here. That's the spokesperson for the John Mahama 2020 campaign, Mr. James Ejenin Boateng, there talking about this evening's event. To outdoor Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman. We thank you so much for your time. We'll move on to other stories. Now, when the Finance Minister, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, presented the media budget review in Parliament on Thursday, he painted a bleak picture of the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the economy and how the government is working towards reducing the impact. On GBC's Current Affairs program, Talking Point, panelists demystify the initiatives captured in the budget and how it can weather the effects of COVID-19 on the country's debt stock, livelihoods, businesses, and the fiscal deficit, which has already exceeded the 5% cap.
Is that during a mid-year review, the finance minister would come and probably ask for little adjustments. But this time he came in to tell us about something we're already aware, a grave impact of a global pandemic which has had a hard hit on our income and also on our expenses. The point here is that we are earning less, we are raising lesser revenues, but we have to spend more. If government decides or continues to say that we're going to subsidize households, then in my opinion, we should also be swift in giving to the companies or the producers of power what they deserve. Otherwise, a bigger crisis might come along where they cannot produce the electricity at all. And I believe the finance minister and his team might have gone through all these processes in terms of thoughts. And we're hoping that for those of us who are also receiving the support, whether you're a household or a business, you make good use of it.
The government budget clearly tries to put in resources to stimulate demand. There's a reason why there's an attempt to put in some guarantees to encourage businesses to borrow money from the banking sector and do more business. So it gives good hope. But in most cases, the challenge is always the implementation of the very good ideas that we've put together. But if you look at the proposals that have been made, for example, the stimulus package for the small enterprises, the 600 million, of course, it's not been administered, so we can't talk about impact yet. There's an additional 150 or so that is going to the creative industry and the universities and all that. That is still good. And the idea is that if all these monies are coming into the system, it should be able to stimulate demand. There's also the plan to provide 22 billion guarantee for the bigger companies. Okay, we will talk about that as well. But if you look at all these, what it means is that government is trying to push demand to go up, but we still have a challenge, because even if you are pushing it and people are still staying at home and in their little corners and in their offices and they are not moving around as they should, it will still have an effect. But generally speaking, I think that if you're able to implement some of these measures very well, it will give hope. There are other aspects. In the budget, government talked about government procurement, for example. We're going to pay a lot of attention to government procurement. And then what it means is that if you're procuring from local sources, you're going to generate demand for Ghanaian products. And as we are generating demand, it means that the products have to be produced. If you are producing, you are employing more people, so you are putting money in the pockets of people. So if all this work very well, I'm quite sure that it will help a great deal in generating income and making the economy bounce back.
Till News Hour. Rickety cab drivers in Dunkwa-on-Ofin in the Upper Denkyira municipality of the Central Region say commuters in the area are too selective and refuse to board their vehicles. Some of the commuters complain that such shaky taxis are uncomfortable and not worth the fare charged. Besides, some of the vehicles break down before they arrive at their destinations.
In parts of the world, vehicles that have seen better days are not allowed on the roads, let alone be used for business. However, in some towns and villages in Ghana, such vehicles enjoy full liberty. A case in point is Dunkwa-on-Ofin in the Upper Denkyira East District in the Central Region, where what can best be referred to as scrap on wheels rub shoulders with other cars on the roads. But the commuters, however, discriminate. They have a choice and ignore the very old taxis and board those in good condition. A resident, Nana Sewa, says she has no patience with old taxis.
Canada ni bitimi jaye sikwem. Nti de bia yepe mo na yepe 19 18 na 20. 20 ni de o sikwan so no anso wo ba. Ti Canada de eni nyi ho. Na se de be wa otwi de bia yemfo. Yefo mu no. Yemfo dada. Canada de anajo no mo twi. Anajo wunya bi mfo ano afo dada ne saa.
A taxi driver in Dunkwa, Eric, says most of the commuters prefer taxis that are neat and new.
Wunya ba kwa won se opeka de a. Ka bebe bia de nyane se duwa kodu. Ka bebe bia wo se ofu me hwe se efe. Ka efe kretumi ja okwam.
It's still News Hour live on GBC News. Let's go to Bolgatanga, where the Technical University in the Upper East region is appealing to government for more teaching staff, lecture halls and accommodation facilities for the university. This will enable the institution to deliver quality as expected.
The interim Vice-Chancellor of the Bolgatanga Technical University, Professor Samuel Erasmus Alna, said the issue of inadequate teaching staff and insufficient lecture halls and accommodation is a serious constraint. The problem is compounded with the anticipated increase in student numbers next academic year as a result of the graduation of the first batch of free SHS. Professor Anna also appealed to government for financial clearance to employ more lecturers to augment the inadequate number of teaching staff in the school.
Now that we're also bringing on board more programs, it requires that we should have more classrooms. So we have always been asking government to construct a modern, multi-purpose or lecture theatre complex that can also house offices for lecturers. As we speak, if you go out, you see a lecturer sitting under a mango tree or in their cars. If a student has a problem and needs counseling, how do you counsel somebody in your car or under a tree? You need a conducive place to do that. How does a lecturer sit here and conduct research? There's nothing. There's no classroom.
Professor Anna commended government converting the school into a technical university and making a case for government to invest more in the university's technical and vocational facilities to deliver on its core mandate and also reduce graduate unemployment. At a graduation, 362 students who successfully completed their 3-year higher national diploma, 2-year Bachelor of Technical and Professional Diploma programs of the 2016 group were graduated. When Parliament amended the Technical University Act 922 on 2nd April 2020, the Bolgatanga Polytechnic in the Upper East region was automatically converted to a technical university. The Technical Universities Act 922 came into force in 2016 to convert qualified polytechnics to technical universities to provide higher education in engineering, science and technology-based disciplines, technical and vocational education and training, applied arts and related disciplines.
As part of its social responsibility, the Bulsa Community Bank, Buko Bank, has donated sanitary and non-medical items to 3 health directorates in the Upper East region and 1 in the Northeast region.
These are the Busa South, Busa North and Bolgatanga Municipal Health Directorates in the Upper East region and Mamprugu Mwadugui Health Directorate in the Northeast region. The preventive items valued at 22,000 cedis included examination gloves, gallons of liquid soap, concentrated bleach, mentholated spirit, hand sanitizers, reusable face masks, disposable surgical face masks, and tissue paper. Handing over the items at Sandema in the Busa North District, the General Manager of Buko Bank, Mr. Richard Awombadek Ajuik, commended all health workers for their tireless efforts in the coronavirus fight. He said the support was provided based on the needs of the various health facilities. Mr. Ajuik said Buko Bank is pledging to support the various health directorates in its catchment areas as often as possible. The acting Busa North District Public Health Nurse, Pognab Comfort Amuak, expressed gratitude to the Buko Bank on behalf of all the beneficiaries. Pognab Amuak, who is also the Queen Mother of Fumbisi, explained that even though the Busa North District has recorded 1 confirmed case of COVID-19 who has since recovered, more personal protective equipment and other hygiene materials are still needed to keep the disease at bay. She said health workers in the area had intensified their sensitization drive on COVID-19 protocols across many communities and said more will be done.
It's still News Hour live on GBC News. It's time to take a break. Up next is Business News with Dorothy Ajumain. Leaders of the West Africa Regional Grouping, ECOWAS, are scheduled to meet today for an extraordinary summit to propose measures to resolve the political crisis in Mali. The virtual summit comes after 2 missions to Mali's capital, Bamako, failed to reconcile the government of embattled President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and opposition groups demanding his resignation.
Measures to help resolve the crisis. The Opposition Coalition, a group called MSRFP, has rejected a proposal for the formation of a national unity government, insisting that President Keïta must resign and a transitional government be set up. ECOWAS leaders have, however, insisted that any change of government in Mali must follow a constitutional process. There are indications that the crisis in Mali could have serious implications for regional security and stability. Many are concerned that the situation could play into the hands of armed groups in the country and the wider region if not properly managed.
Morocco's government has announced a fresh lockdown in some major cities as new coronavirus cases in the country hit a record high. Movement has been restricted in the country's largest city, Casablanca, as well as Tangier, Marrakesh, Fez, and Meknes. Essential service providers authorized by government officials are exempted from the order. Those transporting goods are also allowed to move. The lockdown has been reinstated because of non-adherence to guidelines intended to prevent the spread of the virus. The government warned that a nationwide lockdown was still an option if citizens kept disregarding the guidelines. The Ministry of Health on Saturday announced 811 new cases and a further 633 on Sunday, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 20,278. Spain is fighting to save its embattled tourism industry after the UK government imposed a 14-day quarantine on all arrivals from the country. Government officials insist the virus is under control and want certain areas to be exempt from the UK self-isolation order, including the Balearic Islands.
18 million Britons travelled to Spain in 2019, about a quarter of all arrivals in the country. But Junior Health Minister Helen Watley has defended the quarantine. Spain's rate of infection has jumped in recent days. While the outbreak remains under control in many parts of Spain, certain parts of the country, in particular, like in infections. According to the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control, the country recorded 39.4 cases per 100,000 inhabitants over the last 2 weeks. The UK